Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to Mark Alford's Capital Recap. I'm your Congressman, Mark Alford, coming to you with another update on what has been happening in the swamp in Washington, D.C. Yeah, we flew back earlier this week to vote to reopen the government. Thank goodness the Schumer shutdown, America held hostage, is finally over. Man, what a week it's been. From the Schumer shutdown to the fight for fiscal sanity, we are covering it all right here on Mark Alford's Capital Recap, so let's get right into it. You know, it took 43 days for the Schumer shutdown to end. 43 days too long. Hardworking Americans like you have been really caught in the middle while the left finally caved to its radical Marxist base instead of doing its job. But House Republicans, we stayed focused. We did the hard work of governing, not grandstanding. And now, as you're listening to this, we finally have reopened the government, thank goodness. Earlier this week, we were on the House floor, actually right before the vote on this to end all this madness, and here's what we had to say. Well, thank you, Chairman Cole, for your leadership. Mr. Speaker, in the words of Yogi Berra, this seems like deja vu all over again. 59 days ago, I stood at this very lectern debating the ranking member and a friend of mine over the continuing resolution to keep our government open. On September 19th, we did our work in this body. But Senate Democrats chose to hold America hostage with the Schumer shutdown. Democrats in Congress, including the minority whip, shamefully admitted they were using the misery they inflicted on the American people as leverage to achieve their leftist wish list of demands, slowly twisting the heads of the American people in a vice. Tonight, I'm relieved to say the misery of the Schumer shutdown is on our doorstep. Mr. Speaker, this package proves that when Republicans stay united and put America first, we can govern with strength, compassion, and common sense. Tonight, Mr. Speaker, tonight we will reopen the government and liberate the Schumer hostages. And with that, I yield back. Well, folks, that is really the message that we've been saying all along. When Republicans stay united, we will put America first. We will govern with strength and compassion and common sense. You know, to me, this was not about politics. I don't think to anyone in the Republican conference it was about politics. To the Democrats it was. It was out of the fear of Chuck Schumer losing a potential primary to AOC. Several people spoke before the vote. Here's one of my favorite colleagues, Congresswoman Virginia Foxx of North Carolina. She is also the chairwoman of the Rules Committee, a very important committee. And here's what she had to say.
Mr. Speaker, psychologists have a word for the things the Democrats accuse us of: projection. Mr. Speaker, I sure hope you did not watch all 7 hours of the Democrat group therapy session last night in the Rules Committee. But if you did, you saw what a clown show it was. It was a crisp 40 degrees outside when we adjourned at around 1:30 a.m. this morning, but with the amount of hot air being spewed by Democrats in the committee room for 7 straight hours, you would have thought we were in the dead of summer. Mr. Speaker, at this point, I don't think Democrats really agree on anything. Last night and into the early hours of this morning, they showed everyone that they couldn't even agree on what they're angry about. They went off on so many tangents that it would have been a miracle if they arrived at a single coherent thought at any point during our meeting. The American people will see the exact same thing play out from them during this debate and during general debate on the floor later today. Apparently, the only thing Democrats can agree on is that the government needs to stay shut down, and that the American people need to suffer even more than they have already made them suffer. We heard from Democrats repeatedly about the millions of people they believe are going to be affected when their own temporary COVID credits sunset at the end of this year. Their own temporary COVID credits. Did we hear anything about the millions of Americans who got walloped by Democrats when they shut the government down? Did we hear an apology from Democrats to the American people for deliberately misleading them over 40 days? Did we hear an admission that the only reason they shut down the government is to cover up for a catastrophic policy failure that they concocted and set an end date on. No, we didn't hear one of those things. Not one. Mr. Speaker, I'm not surprised. This is the kind of behavior that Americans have come to expect from Democrats. Has anyone ever noticed how Democrats have developed such a visceral reaction when confronted about their abdication of responsibility? They shut the government down, and the moment you call attention to their own actions, all they do is obfuscate and start shrieking about unrelated things.
You know, there were some people concerned about a provision that the Senate sneaked in to send this bill back to the U.S. House, and I think only people caught it when it went through the Rules Committee. And it was a provision to allow, I think, 6 senators to be able to sue you, the taxpayers, the federal government, because their phones were tapped and other information was investigated by the FBI regarding January 6th. And look, we did not like that provision. We had told people all along this is a clean CR, nothing added to it. Austin Scott from Georgia, one of my good friends, he's on the Rules Committee, and he really did not like this provision. Here's what he had to say.
I was very excited about coming back to Washington, D.C. to vote to open the government back up. And then when I saw what the Senate did last night, I'll be honest, I had a hard night. And I've been struggling with what the right vote is because of what the Senate did. And I want to just tell you, because I want the American citizens to be able to read it. You can start at page 217 of the legislation where it says requiring Senate notification for disclosure of Senate data. And there's a lot of with respect to's and other things in the first pages. But when you get over to page 223, you'll see where they've created a private cause of action, specifically for them. And it goes on and it says that cause of action, and this is on page 224, any senator whose Senate data or the Senate data of whose Senate office has been acquired, subpoenaed, searched, accessed, or disclosed in violation of this section may bring a civil action against the United States if the violation was committed by an officer, employee, or agent of the United States or of any federal department of agent or agency. Relief. If the senator prevails on a claim under this subsection, the court shall, not may, shall award for each instance of a violation of this section the greater of, not the lesser of, the greater of statutory damages of $500,000 or the amount of actual damages, reasonable attorney fees, cost of litigation, and it goes on from there. Now, there's other language in here, waiver of sovereign immunity, no qualified immunity, and there's other language in here, too, that indicates that each line would be an additional payment. And so most of us as members have a campaign phone, a campaign email, a personal phone, a personal email, and then a business phone and a business email. That's 6 violations the way they count it. If they went for all of them. 6. Minimum of $500,000 apiece. Now, I don't think, and I've been asking questions on this since last night, and I'm going to tell you, I don't think that Senate leadership shared with the leadership of the House what they were doing.
Now, it was too late to change anything. Had we changed it in the rules and sent it back to the Senate, that would have even further delayed this vote and further prolonged the misery that Americans were suffering under Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. So we did pass this to open up the government, but Mike Johnson has promised a separate bill is coming very soon to reverse this provision, to strip that out, and I believe that's what should happen. Well, another one of my colleagues, Nick Langworthy from New York, was pretty powerful on the House floor. I want you to hear what he had to say, fact-checking highlighting the hypocrisy from the left and the sacrifices that our nation's hardworking families made as the left used them as political pawns. Here's Nick.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of this rule and ending this shutdown chaos. For more than 40 days, the American people have endured a painful and entirely avoidable government shutdown. Not because of policy differences, but because Senate Democrats and Chuck Schumer chose politics over people. And while Washington stalled, hardworking Americans paid the price. Our air traffic controllers went without pay. A system stretched thinner by the day, putting new strain on that system that put millions of lives at risk. Americans depend on them to keep our skies safe. And families who rely on SNAP and WIC, parents just trying to feed their kids, were left wondering how they'd make it through another week. And at the same time, our border agents and our Coast Guard members, they continued to serve this country as their own families went without pay. And through it all, while everyday Americans carried the weight of the shutdown, Senate Democrats had chance after chance to end it. But instead, they chose to prolong the pain. That is not leadership, that's hypocrisy. It was never about budgets or priorities. It was about power. It's not about turning government on. For them, it's about turning government into performance, where the people paying the highest price are the ones furthest from Washington. For more than 40 days, families were used as political pawns and props, while those responsible stood in front of cameras, pretending to solve the crisis that they created.
Well, you see, folks, America had been held hostage, and people from all over America had to feel the pain for the left's games. This was a game that they were playing, basically, as the Democrats put on a show, put on stupid TikTok videos while they were in Washington. We were home working in our districts. As you know, we've been saying this for weeks. We have been traveling the district, working, visiting rural hospitals, visiting farms, visiting small businesses, listening to our constituents. Folks, you're listening to Mark Alford's Capital Recap. When we come back, I want you to hear my direct address to Missouri's 4th Congressional District about the wins that we got for Missouri in the funding bill that we passed to reopen the government, because it did include 3 appropriations bills. The legislative branch, military construction, VA, were 2 of those, and they're very important bills and some big wins in those for you, the American people. And we are going to talk about the Epstein case and what is the latest on that in Congress. Stay with us. You're listening to Mark Alford's Capital Recap. Welcome back to Mark Alford's Capital Recap. I'm your Congressman, Mark Alford, with our first episode with the government back open in some time. You know, we just listened to several representatives from all over America talking about the importance of passing this bill this week. And like I mentioned, we recorded a special message this week on video. In fact, you can go to our website, alford.house.gov, or you can go to our social media channels at Rep. Mark Alford to see the video of this. And look, I just wanted to talk directly to you, folks in our district and in our state, about the America First package and the real wins that it has for Missouri. So here it is.
Well, hi, everybody. Congressman Mark Alford here. After more than 40 days of the Schumer shutdown, I'm proud to say that it is finally over. You know, in the past weeks, hardworking Americans like yourselves were caught in the middle while the left caved to its radical base instead of doing its job. But House Republicans, we stayed focused. We did the hard work of governing, not grandstanding. This week, we're passing a bipartisan funding bill that reopens our government without raising your taxes, without bloating Washington, and without giving in to the radical demands that weaken our economy and our values. As Vice Chair of the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Appropriations, I am especially proud that this package fully funds veterans' health care and key Veterans Administration programs. We're keeping our promise to the men and women who wore the uniform and defended our great nation. And there are some other big wins for Missouri as well, especially in our 4th Congressional District, that we have secured through the House Appropriations Committee. We secured $3 million for a new agricultural research service center at the University of Missouri in Columbia, driving innovation, strengthening our ag economy, and keeping America feeding the world. We delivered $1.6 million for a regional maternal health center at Golden Valley Memorial Hospital in Clinton, in Henry County. bringing cutting-edge robotic surgical technology to rural Missouri so that moms and babies can get the world-class care that they deserve close to home. And in St. Clair County, we're investing $750,000 to build a secure sally port at the Missouri Law Enforcement Center, protecting officers, inmates, and our community. And one more huge victory. This bill protects taxpayers' $500 million investment in the new Fort Leonard Wood Hospital. It makes sure that the hospital stays just that, a hospital, and will not be downgraded to a clinic, but will stay a full-service facility to care for our troops, their families, and the surrounding community for generations to come. Folks, that is a big win for Missouri, a big win for America's military readiness. You know, there are some real results for real people. When we put our politics aside and people first, we can govern with strength, compassion, and common sense. Now that we voted to reopen the government, this America First bill will be sent to Pennsylvania Avenue, where President Trump will sign it into law. Folks, it's time to return to regular order, restore fiscal sanity, and advance the America First agenda that puts you first, not the bureaucrats back here in Washington. Under the leadership of Chairman Tom Cole, House Republican appropriators will keep fighting for responsible budgets. We will keep fighting for strong families, secure our borders, and a government that works for you. The Schumer shutdown may have held America hostage, but we never stopped fighting for Missouri's 4th Congressional District and for the hardworking Americans across our great nation. Today, we are delivering these promises for you, the hardworking men and women who make this country the greatest in the world. Folks, I believe in you. I believe in America, and I firmly believe that our best days are still ahead of us. God bless you. God bless Missouri's 4th Congressional District, and God bless the United States of America.
Well, this America First funding bill was signed by President Trump just several hours after we passed it on the House floor this week. He needed to sign it to finish the job in making it a law. Well, folks, this shutdown really tested Washington, but it also showed America that real leadership still exists. We stayed focused, we delivered, and now we're back to work for you. Going forward under Chairman Tom Cole on the Appropriations Committee, we're going to be pushing for responsible budgets. We're going to secure our borders, make our families stronger, a government that works for you. We're returning to regular order. We're restoring physical sanity and advancing the America First agenda. And America will win for this. And I will tell you, a lot of people said, you don't work that much up in D.C. We are extending the days that we'll be working until we get this done. The new deadline to get the 9 remaining appropriation bills is January 30th. We will be working Monday through Friday this next week and possibly Fridays after that. So I applaud the leader, Steve Scalise, and I applaud Mike Johnson for making that happen. We've got to get these bills done. We do not need to run out of time again and have the Democrats pull another stunt. Before we do our scripture, I do want to mention the Epstein files because the discharge petition was officially filed and it will cure, that's a fancy term for me, it will be put on the House floor for a vote to release the Epstein files. Look, I've already voted for a bill that says release all the Epstein files and that they must redact the victims' names. Not should, but shall redact. There's a big difference there. This bill, the Massey bill, does not say that. However, when this gets to the House floor, I will be voting for it. I do believe that everything should be made transparent, and all the names, excluding the victims' names, should be made public and let the chips fall where they may. I have said that from the very beginning. I think what Ghislaine Maxwell did and Jeffrey Epstein are deplorable, and I don't think she should be getting any special treatment in prison while she's locked up. So look for that. That could happen within the coming weeks. Before we go, I do want to share our Sunday scripture, Luke 21:12. And Jesus said to his disciples, before all this happens, however, they will seize and persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and to the prisons, and they will have you led before kings and governors because of my name. It will lead to you giving testimony. You know, I think this is really a good reminder that the hardest seasons really become our strongest testimonies or lead to those strong testimonies.
This long, grueling shutdown that we've all been through has really given us an opportunity to put America first and to really testify to what we believe in America. We will continue to do that. We will continue working for you. So thank you for your support. Thank you for never giving up on this great nation. The Schumer shutdown may have held America hostage for 43 days, but we never stopped fighting for you, and we never will. Until next time, thanks for listening to Mark Alford's Capitol Recap. It is an honor to be your voice and your vote in Washington. Remember, I believe in you. I believe in America, and I still believe that our best days are yet to come. Good day, and God bless.